6, 5, 4. Here we go, Roger.
On Insights, two eyes in the middle. INSiiGHTS, where we always talk the talk.
Hello, everybody, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, and all of those things. And we're here on Wednesday night. I'd like to welcome Rick, your favorite reporter.
We've been doing this almost a year. You still ain't got it right. It's your favorite reporter's favorite reporter.
It's just like bad boy. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? I just can same thing. And with us, he's not even a special guest. He's really part of the telecast. We pulled him from the high school show, and I see he's in a very festive mood with his hat and all. You got Earl Hankerson.
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, everybody! Merry Christmas!
Why he look like Scrooge with a little funny voice saying that?
Wait a minute. Hey, Earl.
That's what my godson said today. Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
Oh, I thought you was doing that for the Wildcats, Earl.
Oh,
that's about right too. We play Scrooge, but they look like Scrooge.
Earl Hankerson, I need you. You look like the black version of Home Alone.
Hey, I need some of that Macaulay Culkin money though.
For real.
Boy.
They call our movie Home Alone in the Hood.
Hey, what they call it, Earl? They say, "What do you expect? We're in the hood."
Yeah, that's right.
Nobody better be in that house.
Hey, that's a movie right there. We need to do. That's a reality show right there. Home Alone.
I like it.
Hey, they don't go in the hood with that, do they?
Better not. Hey, that tree back there.
Go in, but they don't come out.
Say who goes in won't come out. Oh man, y'all seem to be really in that festive spirit with the sports and everything coming in this weekend, but y'all really seem excited about the holiday season.
Hey man, that's the time of year. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
For real, I'm with you there, Earl. I mean, this is my favorite time of the year. I love. It gets a little cool. Everyone seems a little more, less tense than usual. People actually speak to you out in the streets, and some people even smile at you. It's crazy. I'm like, wow, it must be Christmas time.
Hey, look, and I get a 2-week vacation from work.
I can't even hate on that. Ding, ding. I wish I had a bell to ring.
We like the Salvation Army over here. We got
oh boy. Now, let me kick this right off, gentlemen. Let me kick this right off. This past weekend in Atlanta, great weekend to be in Atlanta, especially if you're a Cleveland fan. Had the Celebration Bowl on Saturday. Then on Saturday evening, the kickoff NFL game with the Browns playing. The Cleveland Browns, the backer group in Atlanta, they off the chain. When you go in there, you really think your game is live. They got the loudspeaker, they got the DJ, they have the entire sports bar closes down when the Browns play because there's so many Browns fans in there. They got tables reserved. They talking shit walking in the door. Everybody you would think you were in the dog pound for real. Then you got the Cleveland Cavaliers Sunday night. You get a chance to see Trae Young. You get to see the second coming of Kyrie Irving, Darius Garland. If you have not seen the Cavs play yet, you need to see them. Them guys exciting. I got the NBA package just so I could watch the Cavaliers again. Lead the NBA in dunks. They got all those starters under 23. They up and coming. So then, Trae Young, COVID-19. Browns losing players, COVID-19. Arguing about if it was going to be a game. So then the game gets moved till Monday. So I missed having the opportunity to go to the Browns backers bar, which is the best anywhere I've been. And I've been to about 8 or 9 of them around the country, different places. And I said, well, at least I got the Cavaliers game to go to. Get to see them live and in person. I don't get to do that either. So what turned into a great sports weekend in Atlanta, for a lot of purposes, was a dud. But let's go to the Celebration Bowl when South Carolina State was going crazy in Atlanta. Because not only did Buddy Pugh win, he spanked them hind parts. He spanked those hind parts. It wasn't even close. Earl, I know I see you with the thumbs up. Was that a surprise Was that a surprise to you?
Really not a surprise, because we know that Buddy Pugh is a legend in coaching, and he put on a coaching clinic on Saturday. So I would say a surprise on paper, yes, but a surprise in the outcome of the actual game, I'm not really that surprised.
Well, one of the things that was said was about the time off.
Jackson
State had 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Buddy Pugh had a month.
Yeah.
And my thought the whole time was, Buddy is an old school coach in that vein with Bill Hayes and some of those guys. You give him that long to prepare, you might be in trouble.
I think I like what I saw, the contrast between old school and new school. South Carolina State, they kept their mouths quiet the whole time. They didn't have a whole lot to say. They listened to all of that jaw jacking and carrying on from the Jackson State camp, bringing in this celebrity here, that celebrity there. Those guys just went out and went about their business. They ain't do a whole lot of talking until them pads start popping on Saturday.
Yeah, well, you know, but I like what you said about the old style coaching and the new style coaching, and it was exactly that in the way they approached it. Now, a lot of credit has to go to Jackson State and Deion Sanders and what he's done at Jackson State. And I don't think that he gets enough credit, even though he's prime time and people are kind of following and excited. But we've had a lot of HBCU coaches over the years that came from major institutions that had NFL backgrounds and came to coach. But none of them have started off with the success that Deion had.
You have to give him.
I'm sorry.
You have to give him props, Coach. You have to give him props. I mean, for what he did, and not only did he come in and elevate Jackson State and give them a platform, but what Deion did was he helped elevate HBCUs this year. Whether you like him or not, whether you like Jackson State or not, I mean, his popularity and with them winning early, I mean, it helped. I mean, and national, the big boys are talking about him. You see them in papers or on the websites every week is something about Jackson State, and that's because of Deion Sanders, and you can't take anything away from them because of that. So props to Jackson State on the year, on the hire. I was one of those skeptics early on, Coach. We talked about it. I was like, I don't know if this is a good idea. I mean, this guy, I mean, come on now. He's prime time. He ain't coach time. I mean, but hey, I was wrong. It
started rough, though. It did start rough for him. I think he had to learn a couple of lessons about how to properly communicate some things. But you're right, Rick. And it's kind of a double-edged sword, in my opinion. We've had several prominent coaches throughout over the years. There's no question about it. Legends in the game. But it took this particular coach at this particular time to bring back some of the focus, to add some of the luster back to our HBCU football programs. And some people would not really be happy about it, but you can't hate on the man. He did what he had to do, and we all benefit from it. So at the end of the day, let's move on. Got to give him props. Great job, Coach Prime.
I'll go with that. Welcoming another guest. It's been a while since we've had him on. With Earl Hankerson, we need to do something with him, get him that time, and so that he a little special. But welcoming former sports director from WCTV, now working to help the community in so many different ways, and we have with us a very opinionated Joey Lamar. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Coach Clay, for having me on. I apologize for being late, but after I saw Earl Hankerson's hat, I fell out, and it took me 8 minutes to get back up to log into the show because his hat knocked me out. So, I don't know if that's my fault or his fault, but that's why I was late. Okay.
You are absolutely 150% forgiven on that, boy. Come in firing shots, boy. Pow, pow, pow.
Don't forget the show ain't over.
Oh boy, here we go.
I want to say, also like you guys are talking about, Coach Prime. I think he has a chance to rewrite HBCUs and take us back to those glory days of when we had, the Jerry Rices and the Walter Paytons coming through HBCUs, and it's going to be very good if more of the top athletes from Black colleges come to HBCUs, and we could start having those contracts like the SEC and the ACC, that television contract money, and then we could have the big stadium like Doak Campbell Stadium has, like Michigan has. We could start having that too, and this could be the start of it when we look back to say that this was the moment that kind of changed the landscape in college football when Deion signed the top player in the nation to Jackson State. So, like you said, kudos to Coach Brown.
Well, one of the things I agree with you. I don't want to gloss over that at all. But one of the things you said, Earl, he came into a losing program and he turned it around. Yes, he had some lessons, but he was in spring football. He hadn't been there but a few months doing spring football with the team that was left to him. And he told people, and they got mad with him. Some coaches in the SWAC press conference kind of ate him up a little bit when they told him that, he has some new recruits coming in. It wasn't going to be the same, and this is not going to be the team you see. And they were telling him, we got some new recruits coming in too. It's not going to be the same team you see. So you're not the only one out here recruiting. We recruiting too. So it was a lot of shots fired. INSiiGHTS actually is invited to the press conferences, so we tune in and we listen to them live quietly. But there's some shots fired. He was able to move some players and encourage them to transfer. He had a couple quarterbacks leave. They were mad. Oh, it's obvious that his son is going to be the quarterback. He's a 4-star recruit. It's pretty obvious that he's going to be the best quarterback the minute he's on campus. When he visited on campus, he was the best quarterback on campus. So if you want to leave, that's a smart career decision. So he helped them leave, which allowed him. See, not every coach would they give that opportunity to do that. As a former head coach, times have changed with the transfer portal and all, but they wasn't trying to let you do that. And they gave Deion the ability to come in there and clean house, and he cleaned it quickly. And early in practice sessions, he asked those guys, they had a press conference or something with the team, and somebody was out there. He asked them, how many of you guys are new that were not here in the spring? Put your hand up. And almost the whole team put their hand up. So he came in quick. I mean, the same thing that they did at Florida State. He brought in over 20 kids this year on the transfer portal, but they didn't make the change in the program that the kids made at Jackson State in 1 year.
Right. That's true.
Now,
I think the number was 37, Coach. I believe he had 37 transfers
wow.
come in, and they did make a difference. You know, and I know we're going to talk about some other things within there as far as the gameplay and things like that later. So, but yeah, you're right. And you're also seeing that trend come back as more HBCUs are in the portal and they are heavily recruiting some guys that might be leaving other programs. It is very reminiscent of the legendary Billy Joe when he changed the MEAC landscape.
I was going
bringing
there.
in junior college players at that time. One man changed a whole conference. Absolutely amazing. When we look back at that particular time, so we are seeing that, and I know that there are a lot of teams in the HBCU ranks that are heavy into the portal. Which isn't going to bode well for high school players right away. And that's the drawback. But that's another conversation at another time, I think.
Well, we've had that conversation. We'll probably have it again. But you hit on something. Billy Joe showed everybody in the MEAC how to win and showed them the landscape. And boy, you know, we talked about it, Coach Joe and I, and how they were eating them up with the transfers. You know, he said, Coach, I know how they are. I bring a kid in here, bring a high school kid in, and have to groom him to get ready. Then I got my hiney toe out the back there. Somebody else will be coaching him. Now I'm gonna stay with what I'm doing because we winning every year, and he was winning every year, and they criticized him for that. And we had a rough time after that, and then everybody else in the MEAC did that. Now they got the transfer portal rule. Billy was doing without the transfer portal rule.
Right.
No, but we're talking about Jackson State. But what about what it meant for South Carolina State to win that game?
And for the MEAC, totally, Coach. I mean, the MEAC was thought of as the after conference, really. Now, I mean, with all the teams that are not a part of the MEAC anymore, and you saw what FAMU did to South Carolina State earlier. This was a big win, not only for the school, but for the conference, I believe, just to say, hey, we're still here. and we're still kicking your ass, which they have done in the Celebration Bowl for a while now.
And the MEAC Swag Challenge. They won that game too, remember?
Oh, right. Yeah. Central, yeah.
So remember the MEAC was dead, quote unquote dead. Not so fast, my friend. Yeah.
Well, not to get off topic, but the reason people left MEAC were leaving the MEAC was not because of football. It was because of the way the revenues were set up, and they were more advantageous to basketball programs than football programs. And we all know that right now, football is the moneymaker in college. So that's why they were leaving. It wasn't competition, although people did talk about how Howard was a big school and never really could draw a lot of fans. But outside of that, people really were, the ADs really were driven to the SWAC's revenue model as to why they switched conferences from the MEAC to the SWAC.
Well, why they switch is a horse for another day, conversation for another day, because it goes a lot deeper than that. But it wasn't because of the basketball revenue the reason they left. That was not the reason. But it may have been a small portion, but it wasn't it. But I think in terms of them winning, there was a salvo shot that we're still here. And that nobody thought South Carolina State was going to really have a legitimate chance.
And beat them the way they did. Like, that game was not close.
No, it was not.
There you go.
It was not close. And now the argument was afterwards, and I'm happy for South Carolina State, because talking about it being in financial trouble, South Carolina State is fighting for survival as an institution. And this win was very, very big for them, period. You know, they had a guest speaker at homecoming, for commencement, right?
Honorable President Joe Biden.
President Joe Biden was there.
See, and all of those things bode well for them in their survival. You know, I'm not, none of us, I think, and I don't want to speak, but I am jealous or upset about them winning. You know, anytime somebody at a black college does well is great, and we need them for all of us to be able to be successful. But it had to be, you know, they showed Buddy, he was in tears walking across the sideline. You know,
that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
He said he had been trying to get there a long time, Coach, and then to finally get there and climb to the top of that was really that was inspiring as well.
Well, you do know South Carolina State was one of them that actually voted not to participate.
That's right. And he admitted that was his stance as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how he's changed his tune, and is glad he's changed his tune. And we talk about this, how people can evolve ways of thinking, and not just because of circumstances, but I mean, you grow and you learn certain things, and you appreciate things more. And what they've been through there in Orangeburg, I mean, it's a good story. It really is for all of black college sports. I mean, because they were, number one, no one gave them a shot. No one. Well, I didn't give them a shot. I didn't give them a shot in hell. I would have lost a lot of money if I was a gambler.
Yeah.
And seeing the way they played this year, and not just against Fram, but no. And Jackson State, I mean, they've played very well this year. And then with the other off the field problems, the school itself, and for this, I mean, Merry Christmas, Orangeburg and South Carolina State. Merry freaking Christmas.
Hey, Rick, you said they changed their tune. Isn't that like $1 million tune as well?
Yeah,
I think it's about $1 million that go along with changing that tune, isn't it, Coach?
It helped you sing a little sweeter.
Yeah.
Makes those high notes get a little bit higher.
Did you hear him when they said he was going to visit to Orangeburg and, you know, take a half hour or hour or so to show him around? He said, I can show you Orangeburg in about 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You've been to Orangeburg, I know, Coach, South Carolina State, and you know Orangeburg and Claflin right there, literally
right there.
A wall that separates them.
Right across the street.
Yeah, right across the street.
It's discreet.
That's right.
But see, you know, we've had, you know, about who the, you know, we started with the Pelican Bowl, then we had the Heritage Bowl. And the Celebration Bowl back in 2010, they started trying to talk about it, and they were going to have it back in 2011, but the MEAC voted not to have it. Why? There's a lot involved, but a lot of it was they were doing the 1AA playoffs, and, you know, if certain people are going to declare you champion and you don't want to declare yourself champion, you want them to declare you. So as time went on, they decided, you know what, since we're not really getting that many shots going in the 1AA playoffs anyway, let's revisit the Celebration Bowl. Because understand that when you go to the 1AA playoffs, it's not like basketball when you get a bid and they pay you all this money to go, and every step you go, you get more money. 1AA playoffs cost you, the school, the money to go.
Right.
Hold up, Coach. Stop right there. This is what I wanted to talk to you about, and thank you for bringing that up.
Hey, wait.
Are you telling me the 1AA playoffs or the FCS playoffs, excuse me, football teams do not get that money back if they don't host? If they have to travel?
When they host, some of that money goes back to the NCAA. They handle those tickets and everything else and all of that, but you don't make any money off the 1AA playoffs. And that's why after a while, when we really opened up and looked at the situation, why would you not want to go to the Celebration Bowl where you're making money to go?
It's a guarantee.
Yeah.
Why would you not want to do that?
It probably cost FAMU $300,000 to play that game against Southeast Louisiana. It probably cost them $300,000 to play that game.
They did pay for travel though. Like the NCAA paid for travel, and I believe they paid for lodging as well.
If they did, it's new.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that.
I think so.
I hadn't heard that before either.
Coach, I believe they pay for travel and lodging now. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna get the travel and lodging that you want. But I do know this. They did fly the team in on a smaller plane, albeit. And they did, I believe they stayed at the Crown Plaza in Baton Rouge. So that's not too shabby.
No.
Better than the Super 8
would be new, and I would be glad to hear that. But that has not been the same. If you go into the game, somebody gonna have to fly in anyway. You got to stay somewhere. So them staying at the Crown Plaza wasn't but like 2 hotels there to stay anyway. It was a lot, so you didn't have much choice.
Lord.
But then financially, it's not even close in terms of the benefit to your institution.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other part why we didn't, most of the MEAC and the SWAC, both conferences had automatic bids. But the FCS series started when we were playing the Florida Classic and when Grambling and Southern were playing the Bayou Classic.
Right.
So they got 65,000 people in New Orleans. We got 55, 60 in Orlando. We're not getting ready to move that payday for a potential to play in the series, in the FCS series. So the conferences lost their bid because we didn't have a champion declared in either conference by the time that they wanted to submit the bids. And once they did that, I think Florida A&M has been the only one that's received an at-large bid maybe in the last 10 years. You know, they were not concerned about us playing, and we were doing fine in the Celebration Bowl. Now, how do you determine the national champion? That game was not developed to say who the national champion was, but they began to pick it up. That the winner of both would have to be they would declare them as the national champion, HBCU national champion. But Tennessee State is in Ohio Valley; they're not competing. North Carolina A&T isn't in either conference. So you have some other schools that aren't in the MEAC or SWAC that will have good football teams.
Right.
Now, back in the day, the Pittsburgh Courier voted on the top black college team, and whoever was voted number 1 at the end of it was the national champion.
Right.
Now, who do you think the national champion is? Jackson State, South Carolina State, fam?
We changing topics right now, right?
Well, we following the questions.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
Uh-oh.
Since we're changing topics, Coach Al, got new sis.
Wait, can you do something? Can you do something? No, we already had to put up with this all day, haven't we?
Since we're changing topics, Coach Al,
hey,
I just figured.
I told you earlier. I told you earlier today. I told you I'm here for these shenanigans. I am here for these shenanigans.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
I'll start off. Even though the Celebration Bowl, doesn't include all the schools from all the HBCU conferences, I think you have to give the national championship to South Carolina State because they won it on the field. And I know FAMU fans don't want to hear that, because the power rankings declared them number 1, but FAMU did not win their conference. They didn't win their division this year. And to claim a national championship after not being able to do those things, I think, that's a bit much. So I would give it to South Carolina State right now.
I don't know, Joey. Just on one of your points about they didn't win a championship. I mean, you could do that in the big boy league.
Well,
Clemson and
historically,
Alabama did it.
So
yeah. Thank you.
Historically, if FAMU wanted to claim a championship, they would be playing by historical rules, right? Where before they had the BCS, they had the Bowl Alliance Series where, you had to hope that your team, that if you were number 2, that number 1 team lost, and then you won your bowl game, and you would move up to number 1. But FAMU didn't win their bowl game. Like, they didn't even win the first game of that playoffs. So to end the season on a loss and then claim a national championship, I don't know how you can make that argument.
No.
I'm not saying that you're wrong by not picking FAMU. I was just like,
I love FAMU, by the way. I just want to put that out there. I love FAMU.
So I'm going to counter your point, Joey. Okay. First off, like Rick pointed out, we've had teams in the FBS. For example, Alabama just did it. Didn't win their conference championship. Won that championship. Georgia has an opportunity to do it this year. Didn't win the conference championship. Could potentially win that championship. So that's point number 1. All right. Hold on. I hear your other point about not winning the playoff game, but that is separate from the HBCU national championship. Playoff game has absolutely nothing to do with what happened during the regular season when you were playing common opponents that are HBCUs. So I would hold on. I'm not, and let me point out, I'm not disagreeing with you.
It's all right to disagree.
Well, what I'm doing is I'm just making counterpoints because I keep hearing these points before. You also stated that you shouldn't be able to lose your last game and still be crown champion, but that's actually what has actually happened in some of these other polls that have crowned Jackson State national champion. Okay. I don't have an issue with there being a split champion because each team lost a game to each other in that triangle.
When you say, Alabama didn't win their conference, they won a national championship, we can see Georgia do that. Those teams had the ability to play for that, right? The system allows them to be one of the top 4 ranked teams, and that system allows them to play for that national championship. But this system that we have right now doesn't allow a team like FAMU or anybody that finishes second to then play for that national championship. So we don't have that playoff. So if you're not in it, how can you say that you win it?
Okay.
And so they need to be in there. So that's the first point. The second point, when you talk about common opponents, I hate this argument. They do it in basketball all the time. Well, we beat so-and-so, and then they beat so-and-so, so we should be the champion. They do that all the time in basketball, but you got to understand, those 2 teams are different. Just because you beat a team and somebody else lost to them doesn't mean that you are better than that team. Like, it's 2 different styles. And so to compare those styles is not fair, especially with football. The offense
how else do you tell if it's not on the field?
You have to play. If it's not head to head, you just guessing. You throwing darts at a board. But unless it's head to head, you can't really start making those comparisons because it's 2 different styles. And it's not fair to just be like, oh well, they beat them by 30, we beat them by 20, so we gonna beat them by 10. Like you can't make those comparisons. Like that's not fair.
I can't agree with that, Joey, because Florida A&M did beat South Carolina State by 3 touchdowns. South Carolina State beat Jackson State by 3 touchdowns. And FAMU only lost to Jackson State by 1 point. So there's a point differential that also comes in there. But I want to go back to your previous point about there's not a way to determine really who should be the champion. Actually, there is. It's called a regular season. And I would also point out that in the Celebration Bowl, you only have the SWAC and the MEAC. But Coach is absolutely correct. North Carolina A&T is a Division I program. Hampton University is a Division I, and Tennessee State. Those are all historically Black colleges and universities. And so them being automatically excluded from the discussion is what's not fair. What happens if Tennessee State goes 12-0? What happens if North Carolina A&T goes 12-0 and they lose in the first round of the playoffs? But everybody else lost a game during the regular season. Are they not worthy to be crowned national champion?
Not that you didn't play in the bowl.
But see, that's my point.
But everyone can't play in the bowl.
Everybody can't play in the bowl.
But let's be fair now. Let's be fair.
Problem.
North Carolina A&T excluded themselves, right? They left the MEAC.
They excluded themselves from the bowl game. That doesn't mean they excluded themselves. That doesn't mean they exclude themselves from being HBCU national champion.
Because they're still an HBCU.
They're still
I'm with you there, Earl. I'm with you 100% there, Earl.
If you're not playing in the bowl game, how can you call yourself to say that you can be national champion? All you're doing is just based on some hypothetical ranking from somebody else and comparing your 10-1 record to somebody else's 10-1 record when y'all didn't play the same competition.
But that's what it is anyway. Teams, it's all hypothetical anyway.
So that's why we have the Celebration Bowl.
No, that's why we have the debate. That's what makes this a great debate. The Celebration Bowl is just a game. That's why people, in my opinion, you can't include the playoff games because they're not against HBCU teams. You can't necessarily say that the Celebration Bowl is the national championship game because everybody can't play in the Celebration Bowl.
Well,
the game was developed to pit the winners from the MEAC and the SWAC, period. That's why the game was created, and for black colleges to be able to have their own game and bowl game. Now, as it developed, as it came along, people added that it's for the national championship. It was never designed for the national championship. It was just designed to pit the MEAC winners and the SWAC winners together. That's what it was designed for.
Correct.
And remember, they one time had the Legacy Bowl, which was the MEAC and SWAC. See, so they've had those things. But now you have Hampton is not in the MEAC. You got A&T not in the MEAC. You know, neither one of them in a black conference. You got Tennessee State. I mean, you have some teams that aren't in there. A few years ago, Florida A&M self-imposed and did not attend, even though they won the MEAC. They did not attend the Celebration Bowl.
Right.
But the team that won the Celebration Bowl, North Carolina A&T, FAMU had beaten. FAMU claimed themselves as national champions that year because they had beaten them. They didn't go to the bowl game because they weren't eligible to go. They had self-imposed themselves and didn't go. The debate, I think, is outstanding. It's great because we kick off the season with FAMU and Jackson State again. Thought we had a decent crowd last year. It's gonna be everybody.
It's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be crazy. I like
it's
that.
It's gonna be wilder than that hat Earl got on. It's gonna
right. Hey, listen, hey, Coach. You know what another great point about that is about this whole debate is. See, the one thing that I love about the debate is that you've got now 3 teams that are claiming that they are the national champion. Now, South Carolina State won a game on the field. Congratulations, Buddy Pugh. We've all talked about that. I have no issue with that.
Right.
But what you really get out of this debate is the excitement for your programs. Like you just said, think about it. When Jackson State lines up against FAMU now, oh my goodness. And the debate going to continue all season. This is not going to die anytime soon. And so now what are people going to do? They're going to go buy tickets. They're going to get merchandise. They're going to give to the programs. They're going to be a part of this club, that club. Man, you couldn't ask for nothing better than for what happened this year in HBCU football. And it's not just because of those 3 teams. We're talking about now across the board. Because now, with the excitement around that Celebration Bowl, I guarantee you every single team in both of those conferences are going to be trying to get to Atlanta now. No question about
it. And I don't know what weekend they kick off, but don't be surprised if you see ESPN at that game doing College Game Day. With Jackson State and FAMU. Do not be surprised.
Well, the campaigning for it has already started. It is Labor Day weekend, September 4th, and College Game Day being on Saturday, September 3rd. The campaigning has already begun to have College Game Day in Miami for that game. So, yeah, no, there definitely won't be a surprise. Now, I'll tell you what could potentially be a surprise is if they had a special Sunday College Game Day. That would be magnificent.
That would be
because
a
there
surprise.
are no pro games that weekend. What's that, Rick?
That would be a surprise.
There are no pro games that weekend. There is no pro. The pros don't start until that Thursday.
The weekend after, right?
So the potential is there.
It's important to us, not to the rest of America. We're trying to get to that point.
I understand. That's a great point.
And a lot of things that we think are important in terms of our HBCU institutions and the rivalries, they don't have a clue about.
And don't care.
But now this is also the time to shine that light on that too. But great point, Coach. That's a great point taken.
Yeah, and one of the things that we have to mention, Joy, we talked about it. Kudos to Jackson State and Deion Sanders for signing a #1 recruit in the country. And all the fallout and the comment that was made was he said he has some more surprises up his sleeve. And from a real good friend of his, they told me believe him when he says that. And he just started laughing. I said, we believe what Deion says. You know, we believe what he says. And Jackson State, you have to remember, Jackson State Stadium holds over 50,000 people. University of Mississippi and Southern Mississippi used to play their game on Jackson State campus because of the size of the facility. So they have some very positive things going for them, even though that, in a way for them, losing might have been the best thing for them moving forward the next year as a coach that now, see, when you win, it's hard to tell guys certain things because they win.
Yep, you're right about it.
But when they lose, you get their attention. And you think that he's not going to hammer that home all season next year? Every game they play, he's going to be hammering. Oh, but y'all thought y'all were doing something. The Bulldogs came in here and whipped y'all behind just on national TV, turned you every which way but loose. Oh, yeah. You think you know it? Yeah, okay. All right. He can do that. They're not gonna let him up.
I think Deion is trying to recruit not the best team in the SWAC or Black College football. I think he's trying to recruit one of the best teams in the nation. And so I think you're going to see a lot of white players start. He's going to start recruiting a lot of white players to Jackson State too. It's not just going to be I'm going after the best black player. I'm going after the best player in general. I don't care what skin color. And that's going to help out FAMU. That's going to help out South Carolina State. That's going to help out Alabama A&M, Alabama State. It's going to help out black colleges in general because we're going to be able to show that you can have a great college experience at an HBCU just like you can at a predominantly white college as well.
Hey, we mentioned it earlier. Billy Joe used to do that all the
time. And coaches are doing that. As a former head coach, men and women, when we recruited to be the best team. We never recruited for the MEAC. We recruited to be able to beat whoever we played. We wanted to be the best. And our girls team, when we played, we've beaten Florida State, Miami. We were beating all of them. So when we recruit, and now the thing that happens a lot of time, which I don't talk about in recruiting white athletes, we had a 6'4" guard coming here that was athletic. Oh my, he put his elbow in the rim. Nobody recruited that kid but me. He was with us for about 3 weeks, and his community took up money to bring him back home to send him to school rather than he stayed at HBCU. He'd have owned our campus. He jumped out the doggone gym. He put his rim in the goal. Put his elbow in the rim. We had a scrimmage in there. Everybody was in there trying to figure out who this boy was that was jumping like this and playing like that. 6'4" guard could play. So there's always some stuff that goes on. One of the things that happened, I mentioned in the opening about COVID. We got Texas A&M as we not playing because of COVID. We got games being canceled. The National Hockey League has it the right way. They take a break at Christmas anyway, but they've now extended that break to a week to 10 days to try to get COVID under control. Cleveland, where the Cavaliers and the Browns teams are being ravaged, Cleveland has more COVID cases than any time in the history of doing this. That's how high the numbers are in Cleveland. You know they have to be high if the football team and the basketball team are coming like that.
Right.
NBA Commissioner Stern said 85% of the kids being tested are coming back with the new strain. So this thing is rampant, y'all. And Mr. Lamar, I know that you're really active in the community here. Coach Hankerson, you too. What is your thought in terms of how this is going to affect us? And are we going to be able to get through a high school season here in the city with COVID ramping up? The numbers is rampant.
Hey, hold on, Joey. I'm gonna let you go. We changing the subject, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh Lord.
Not changing the hat again.
All right. Now we can continue. Go ahead, Joey. You have the floor.
Rick. Come back, Rick.
I don't have the floor. There's no more floor. There's no more.
You have the floor, Joey. We continue.
There's no more floor, huh?
It's a good question. I don't think you'll see a shutdown like you did before. One of the things I think that you'll see is a push to get more people vaccinated. And I am imploring and encouraging our city and county leaders to work together to come up with a plan to get more people vaccinated. One of the things I was very disappointed about was there was no incentive in Leon County to get people vaccinated. The city and county should have come together and said, we're gonna give every resident that gets vaccinated $100 or $150 gift card to Publix, right? You would have encouraged people to get vaccinated, and you would have also taken some of the pressure off the food banks, because as you know, the lines were stretching for miles for people trying to get food. You would have taken some of the pressure off the food banks, and you would have gotten people vaccinated. And so I would have liked to see the county and the city do a little bit more when it came to getting people vaccinated. And maybe this is something they can do now, is make that push to say, hey, if you get vaccinated, I'll give you $100 or $150 gift card to Publix. And then you tie it into your local community too, because you're putting money back into the community. And so that would be something that I would want to see them do. So that's how I think it should work.
Before you respond, Coach Hankerson, Joy, stand up a little bit. Let us see what that shirt says.
Oh yeah. District 3, baby. District 3.
District 3. District 3. Know your district.
Hey.
Okay,
I don't even drive. I don't even drive on the streets anymore because I know on the main roads, because I know the back roads now. Because I'm walking, knocking doors. I don't even drive on the main streets anymore.
About how many doors have you knocked on now?
I think I've knocked on over 4,000 doors. Knocked on over 4,000 doors.
And the campaign is when? I mean, when is the election?
Election is August 23rd, 2022. My goal was to knock on every door twice, but I might have underestimated how many doors there are in the district. So I think we're gonna get around to knocking every door once. We may get to some twice, but there's no way I'm getting to all of them twice. But my goal is to knock on every door in the district once. That is my goal, and that's a very attainable goal.
Okay, Earl. Okay, good luck on that goal. We're gonna move to you, Earl, but I have to do a special shout out to Chiquita Miller. She's back in the house. She said she's loving those hats there, Earl. She said you're killing her. Said she loved those hats. And I started to ask her which hat was she talking about.
Ask her how much did she pay Earl to say that. How much did she get paid to say that? That's what you need to ask her.
All right, well, she heard you because she's on the show, and her and Sports Diva are talking back and forth now, but they got their own thing going. Sports Diva, and Dr. Miller, former Rattler Red basketball player. She's a regular, but her and Sports Diva both regulars. But go ahead for us, Earl.
Oh no, I think that's a great idea by our future county commissioner. Don't give them all your ideas though. But if y'all steal the idea, you know who came up with it first.
We got it documented right here.
I can tell you this though, even with utilities, give $100 rebate on the utilities to go get your vaccine. I mean, listen, it bothers me really to no end about these folks not getting this vaccine. The people been working on the vaccine forever, longer than you realize it. One, two, hell, I went and got my booster today and went and played golf. I'm still alive. Okay, I don't have a three eyes, going on. It's just ridiculous. Three, most of the people hollering about the vaccine, hell, y'all made a D or F in science class. Now all of a sudden y'all scientists? Come on, man, let's stop this foolishness.
I think I think the really big thing that we're fighting is not necessarily people who don't want it, but it's the misinformation that's allowing you not to want it. So you are battling against, people who are playing this contrarian role to be able to say, well, wait, stop, what about this RNA and this, all that stuff. And, they're not really doctors, but they want to be anti. And so they want to provide a contrarian view, and people are picking up on that and starting to believe these things that they hear. That's why the biggest thing about media and information is not what they give, but it's the disinformation that gets out too, right? Because people are scrolling through their phones and getting their medical advice through memes on Facebook.
From TikTok.
And that is not a way to get medical advice, right? So that's what they're battling, is the misinformation and disinformation that they're getting from Facebook and other sources, and Facebook is not doing a good job of battling that misinformation, and they have to do a better job.
Well, you're getting a comment. Dr. Miller said she loves the idea of you knocking on the doors and incentives for vaccinations. See, the thing that people get scared of, or this misinformation that we talk about, is you get the vaccine and then somebody gets COVID. Well, you got the vaccine and you still got COVID. Well, the vaccine never said you weren't going to get
that. You are exactly right, Coach. The vaccine was not meant to prevent you from getting COVID. It was to prevent you from dying. It was to prevent you from being on a ventilator, and to prevent you from being hospitalized. Those were the things that it was fighting. It was not fighting you ever contracting COVID again. It was not a cure for COVID. It was a vaccine to prevent you from being seriously affected by COVID. You are absolutely right.
And you're right. I raised my hand because I'm still in the mix of this COVID that just struck me last week. But no hospital. I wasn't in the hospital. No I haven't had it. I don't have to have a ventilator. I just got to ride it out a little bit more. I'm still alive and still busting on you Dallas fans. So it's all good. Ain't nothing changed but the weather and my little gray. But that's coming off next year too. But so, it's still scary in the sense that as a sports fan, and you see what Adam Silver, NBA commissioner, saying, no, we're going to continue no matter what. I mean, sometimes you have to pump your brakes and think, is this really the right thing to do? And I know there's a lot of money on the line, and that's just the pros. What about the high schoolers? What's going to happen to the kids? It's still a lot of uncertainty, but I know I'm glad I did get the shot. Was about to get the booster before I got boosted, but I have to wait for a little bit. But we have to take care of ourselves and each other. So we've been fighting this all year, Coach.
Rick,
we've been talking about this all year.
I appreciate you sharing that. I was hoping that you would. It was your story to tell. But I am going to ask you, since you did have it and still not completely over it, and had 2 shots, and like we said, Joey, the key was to be able to live from catching COVID. What was it like for you?
The worst was I've never had a migraine before. Um, but it was like my head was. I was looking at at my computer trying to work on Tuesday, and it was just a fog, just all over. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't think. Some congestion, but for me, that was it. I mean, that was the heavy part of it, and I was just very fatigued. Just every opportunity I got to sleep, that's where I was. And so I'm a now, a little better now, and I get to get out of isolation in 2 more days, take this test, and prayerfully this junk will be gone so I can see my grandbaby on Christmas Day. But if not, then I'll just stay my happy ass here. But no, coach, for me, it wasn't it wasn't as traumatic, and I think it's because I was vaccinated. I had at least two of the shots, so that's what probably saved my ass.
All right.
Wow,
Hey.
I think I'm sorry. Go ahead, Earl.
No, I was just gonna say, man, we glad that our favorite reporter did get, the vaccine, man. It's just ridiculous. All of this going on. It's just, I don't know. It just don't make sense to me. But I'm going with the people last name Fauci, and whatever he say, that's what I'm going with. I'm good. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, if you see him, don't wear that hat to the.
Hey, look, but we gotta get to the original question that Coach asked, and I think this, obviously at the high school level, we as the adults have to make the proper decision to make sure that the kids are safe. There's no question about that. I would not be surprised if this thing gets shut down, if it continues the way it's going. I really would not be surprised at all. Okay, number one, at the collegiate level, we're seeing teams. Hey Joey, I think somebody's stealing something in your. At the collegiate level, hey, stop, thief! Ring the alarm! Ring the alarm!
Hey, what did we say about Home Alone in the Hood?
Hey, at the collegiate level, you see Texas A&M, along with several other basketball programs have been put on pause, but I think this is the first one we've seen a football program not play a bowl game. And so we saw that today, and I text the athletic director at FAMU. I said, hey, man, we right down the street from Jacksonville. Let's go play. And I was just joking. But, actually, Coach Simmons, he put it out there, and so now you got that. Of course, we know it's not going to happen. It's in jest, but hey, why not? Why not us? Think big, right?
Joey, do you hear him saying this now after we talked about that golf and now he's running up the pole now?
Hey, baby, let's run it. Hey, but listen.
And somebody said, what is Earl doing with that Christmas hat on looking like the Christmas jester?
But listen, at the professional level, I think Baker Mayfield made a good point about not keeping the player safety, blah, blah, blah. We ought to pause the game. On the other hand, Baker, y'all knew what the rules were about COVID, and you're getting paid millions of dollars to stay healthy. So I'm sorry. Everybody in my family on quarantine for the whole season until we done. Everybody. Ain't nobody going nowhere. You ain't coming here, nothing. We finna get this. We finna get paid so we can continue to survive. But I do think this, though. I do think they ought to shut it all down for 10 days and then resume. It's not gonna happen, but I think it would be in the best interest to shut it all down. And the stadiums are still packed.
I can see them shutting it down. I can see Leon County shutting it down for 2 weeks. I can see them doing that. Like pushing the season back 2 weeks. I can see them doing that.
I could see that, and part of it is this, and we've discussed it off air. You can be asymptomatic and not know that you have it. You could not know that you have COVID unless you get tested for some reason, and then you find out you have it, which is part of what the NFL testing is. They start testing them once it gets discovered in your camp. They test you all the time. You know, they're testing. Now they've changed the rule where they're only testing people if they show symptoms of having it. How much sense does that make? What's that saying is, if you have it, we don't want to know that you have it.
Right.
So y'all keep playing the games, and in fact, see now, if I'm Las Vegas, the Raiders, I'm mad anyway because I don't want to play the Browns because all them sick anyway.
Hey, it sounds like the old Army policy: don't ask, don't tell.
Don't tell.
Yeah, they need to shut it down. Go ahead and I would say shut it down and resume January 7th or whatever you're gonna do, but they need to shut this thing down, man.
And I understand them not wanting to shut it down. And as a fan, I don't want them to shut it down. I've been to the games. I'm enjoying the energy in the games again. Even when you watch them on TV, the energy from the fans have always been what brings the game. And all of us are sports fans, and we all know the difference in watching it and going to the game live. You know, the energy and all of that and what it's done for everybody for that to go on. But these people still getting sick like that is a concern. And we don't know the answer because, you know, we still keep trying to tell people in these events, you'll see people that are not masked. You know, they'll go to the event, they won't be masked. And you see them on TV. You'll see some facility. Oh, look, I got caught in the middle of a sentence. Before we close out, thoughts on Kyrie Irving and the Nets situation, how they handled that.
Can't play. Sorry. That's the end for me. I don't have nothing else to say. All right, look, we could have had 4 available players left. His ass wasn't gonna be one of them that was gonna suit up. I'm sorry.
I think Kyrie, you know, made this push to, you know, stand on his ground, his morals on whether or not he wants to have get vaccinated. And you have to, you know, respect his choice, but then the players also have to be respected too, because you're putting their health and safety at risk as well. And so if someone is not willing to go through the protocols that everybody else is, then you shouldn't be inviting that player back to the team until they want to do what everybody else is doing. So
Agreed.
Definitely agree, Joey.
Totally agreed. Just, hey, hats off. Hey, you stand on your moral ground. Hey, do you?
Yeah.
But you stay over there. You keep standing on that ground over yonder, because number one, I don't think that's, and I know life is not fair, Senior Adderley, but how are you going to coach a person only playing half of away games? Okay, well, we're not going to have them for the Lakers here, but we'll have them for the Clippers in LA. That's just too disruptive.
Yeah.
I would believe, as a coach, as a teammate, not knowing he's there for you, I don't like it one bit. I think the Nets are wrong because of it.
remember, Leon County did something similar last year when they were doing football with COVID. They said that the Leon County schools, the public schools, will only play in the county, but then you had the private schools going outside the county and playing other schools, then playing the county schools as well. So, you know, they did something crazy like that too now. So it's not unheard of. I didn't say I agree with it, but that's what they did. But, you know, it's not unheard of this, you know, because people still travel, even though you playing only road games, people still travel, and we're still traveling. So, yeah.
Gentlemen, Boy, this has been a healthy dialogue. And Earl Hankerson, you have been so entertaining.
You've been something.
It's
something.
Joey, I appreciate you biting your tongue because Earl had given you so much ammunition to fire at him, even though you did fire some shots coming in. You know.
Well, you know, I'm learning. I'm learning to pick your time very wisely. You know, pick your time very wisely.
I want to thank Earl Hankerson for these INSiiGHTS golf balls for my Christmas present. One of the most unique Christmas gifts I've had in a while. I appreciate it, Earl, so much, my brother.
Yes.
Really
Sir.
Don't play with them, Coach. You may lose them.
Boy, they are not going to see the site or the grass. There will be no grass on them, mud or a golf club on them.
Yeah.
But I appreciate everybody being here. You, Earl Hankerson, Joy Lamar, running for County Commissioner. Anything you'd like to say, sir?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you for the opportunity again. I'm running because I want to see more investment into our local communities. That means investing into our local infrastructure. That means sidewalks where we need them, streetlights where we need them, making sure that our roads are maintained. It means revitalizing the center for Tallahassee. It means making sure that we train our kids up early in education, making sure that they have are learning those concepts, ABCs, 1, 2, 3s at the earliest stage they possibly can, so they can learn more when they get older. And it's making sure that taxpayers know that their dollars will be spent on them. And that's a really big thing. We've gotten away from that. We need to focus back on making sure taxpayer dollars are spent on the taxpayers because that's what their intended purpose is.
And Coach, I'm really
hold on. Oh, and if you want to donate, this is very big. If you want to donate to the campaign, it's helpjoeywin.org, and you can donate to the campaign. Helpjoeywin.org.
all right. I'm gonna make sure I do that. But and I'm really proud of you, Joey, because you talked about the kids knowing the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, and I know you were about 12 years old before you figured that out. So I'm real proud of you, sir.
Hey, it took you an hour, but you finally got your shot in. It took you an hour, Earl, but you finally got your shot in.
It took him an hour, but he finally got his shot in.
I knew it was coming, though.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you. We want you to stay masked up. We got your reporter's favorite reporter. Every show we get off telling you to mask up. Every show. And even doing that, you still take chances. Those of you who shouted out about trying to get an INSiiGHTS baseball hat, we just ordered a very limited number for special people. It's only 1 or 2 left to purchase, but we ordered some special ones for the crew. But you better get in there quick. They say they like the one I wear, and they ask about the one that Rick wore. Somebody, a Kappa, asked about that one. But a Kappa asked about that. But we appreciate y'all and have a merry, merry, merry Christmas. Drive safely. Please take the necessary steps you need to protect the health of not only you, but your family as well. Look out for them here.
From INSiiGHTS. Visit our website at INSiiGHTS.com. 2 I's in the middle. INSiiGHTS.
INSiiGHTS is a copyright of Mac4 Enterprises, a Florida corporation. This broadcast is produced under the exclusive ownership of Mac4 Enterprises and is the intellectual property and trademark of Mac4 Enterprises. Comments of the host and other individual speakers on INSiiGHTS represent their independent thoughts and representations.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
All right, brothers.
We appreciate y'all as always. Earl, the Pearl, Hankerson, and Rick, your reporters reporting the Taylor report. We appreciate y'all. Rick, continue to work on being the best version of you.
Yes, sir. Hey, I forgot to get my tie.
Oh.
And you see the suspenders.
Oh, I'm out.
There's an
I'm out.
outtake for you, coach. There's an outtake.
I'm out.
Hey, we all need to be out now.